In the previous video, Michael Falco, Executive Director of the Land of Medicine Buddha, took us on a tour of the land. In this video, I will sit down with him for a one-on-one interview. What's a nice guy like you doing in a place like this?
Yeah, I ask myself that all the time. Hi, I'm Mike, director at LMB, one of Meng's many Dharma friends.
That's me. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having us. And we just visited the Land of Medicine Buddha. This is amazing. So thank you for giving us a tour, and thank you for having this place for us. Yeah.
My pleasure. It's an honor. It's an honor. I've been coming here for a very long time as a practitioner and as a visitor and as a student, and it's humbling to now be in a position to help steward this place into the future. So it's been amazing meeting people like you and meeting other people that have been in the Dharma for a very long time. So thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
And being a Dharma friend.
Okay, thank you. So let's start from the beginning, Micah. Tell me your life story. Where were you born?
Sure, life story. I was born on the south side of Chicago.
It's the city that gave us Lincoln, yes?
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. We like to refer to it as a cleaner New York City.
Yes.
Born on the south side of Chicago and grew up. I have a little brother that's a couple of years younger than me, but grew up playing sports, and that was kind of the direction that my whole life took. Through high school, and got a scholarship to Rice University in Houston and played football there. And then after I was done with university, before getting into the corporate world, I decided to be a ski bum for a few years in Aspen. And that's where I found the Dharma in my mid-20s in Aspen. Actually, some of my friends, whether they realized it or not, we were beginning to explore Buddhism and beginning to understand a different version of life through the lens of the Dharma. And the first book that I read that was a Dharma book was Old Path, White Clouds by Thich Nhat Hanh.
That's right.
Yeah, amazing. That book changed my life. So I told one of my friends that I was starting to meditate, and I was starting to become interested in meditation, and not even knowing the difference between Buddhism or anything, just meditating. And he handed me that book, and it was probably still to this day the largest book that I've ever read. It's like a 400-page book,
yes.
and I couldn't put it down.
Yes. So how did the book change your life?
Well, the book changed my life in a couple different ways. It made me realize that Buddha, who I had always pictured as kind of like this deity type figure, was actually once a normal person. He was a man, just like I was. And he went through a process, and that being exposed to that process gave me the confidence that I could kind of embark on a similar journey. And my process would obviously look different, but I had an example in him to follow. So it opened my eyes to that and to this process, and it also helped me, be able to define what Buddhism was in some way, So it made it more tangible to me.
Lovely.
Who was that guy?
I don't know. So Micah, Aspen ski bumping, how did that relate to Buddhism?
So it was actually a beautiful thing, because looking back on it, it was almost like I was on a ski retreat. So on a retreat, you go into this place where you're almost you're almost living under like vows of poverty and, being in nature and skiing 80, 90 days a year. It was, it was a version of retreat for me where I was able to do things that I loved and establish a meditation practice, but also be surrounded by nature.
Right.
And it gave me the space to kind of continue to understand more about the Dharma.
Fascinating. So the mountain spoke to you.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was an inspiring place to find the Dharma, because you could, in your mid-20s where the world is your oyster, and to be in a place like that,
Right.
in a place that is beautiful and magnificent, and there's a strong Buddhist community there as well. So it was like the ideal time to discover those things.
Wow. And you were in the 20s back then?
Yeah, mid-20s.
Wow.
Yeah.
So my next question is how you ended up being the director of Land of Medicine Buddha? Or another way I'll phrase it, what's a nice guy like you doing in a place like this?
Yeah, I ask myself that all the time. So I've been coming to Land of Medicine Buddha for a long time, over a decade, as a practitioner, and how I ended up in this role was I was here on a retreat for my 40th birthday in January. And I saw on their website, through the process of booking my retreat, that they were looking for an executive director. So I have a lot of experience in the world of restaurants, and I own a couple of restaurants, and I've started and been a part of starting almost 10 restaurants over the last 15 years. So through that experience, I've worn a lot of hats in operations and HR and running an organization and understanding finances. So as I looked at the job description, it was all these things that I knew how to do. So I was like, maybe I'll write a letter and see if I have a chance to help lead LMB,
Right.
in the next evolution.
Right.
So that was how I kind of fell into this in a way.
Cool. Very cool. I, for one, really appreciate having somebody like you in this role, because in a sense you didn't like grow up in this organization, and therefore you brought a lot of the outsider's objective point of view, and I think you bring a lot to this community.
Being in the Dharma and working in restaurants, you could feel the value that you were trying to, and the service that you were trying to provide, and that you knew that you were able to brighten somebody's day,
Right.
or provide a safe place for somebody to sit down and relax, or to just nourish them. So it's been interesting as I reflect on my journey. Ever since picking up that book, and I've been in the Dharma in some form or fashion, but there's all these different versions of it, right? So your life becomes your practice. Your life becomes about service to others. And now this is just the latest version of that. It gets repackaged, and now it says director of LMB, which I'm just really humbled to have this position. I mean, it's an incredible honor. This place has meant so much to so many people in the Dharma for 4 decades, that to be in a position to help lead it into the future and whatever it evolves into, it's really an honor.
So now you transition from feeding people's stomach to feeding people's soul.
Right, hopefully.
That's very cool.
Hopefully.
How has Dharma changed your life?
Dharma's changed my life. It's really transformed my awareness. It's made me become aware of the interconnectedness of everything, and also the impermanence of everything. It allows you to kind of smile in the face of adversity sometimes.
Yes.
Because this too shall pass is kind of the mantra. Let go. But it heightened my awareness that, while I feel like I'm this body and these arms and this, this is me,
Right.
that this is just, the physical manifestation now, and that in Dharma I've been through beginningless lifetimes, this stream of consciousness that just continues on and on and on and on.
Yes, yes.
So you can turn problems into opportunities with the Dharma as your foundation. You can turn adversity into ways to get better and to grow, and nothing really needs to be taken too seriously. Maybe also it's changed my life in that way. Like don't take anything too serious, because it's happening, but it's all a part of something bigger, and your perspective of it shapes what it is or isn't as well.
Right. Fascinating. So what is your vision for LMB right now?
My vision for LMB, going into the future, is to hopefully combine the two visions that were originally, before this was Land of Medicine Buddha. The two visions for this place were the holding a space to keep the tradition and the rigidity of Tibetan Mahayana Buddhism, right, which was Lama Zopa Rinpoche's vision and his quest. And then there was a slightly different version, which was Lama Yeshe's version, which was to establish universal education, to establish some type of foundational secular ethics, the Buddhism that is kind of transcends all cultures, right? That can be available to everybody.
Yes.
But those two were, for all intents and purposes, yin and yang.
Yes.
And Lama Zopa Rinpoche was Lama Yeshe's heart disciple.
Yes, correct.
So when Lama Yeshe passed away in 1984, Lama Zopa Rinpoche kind of stepped in as the leader of the Foundation of Preserving Mahayana Tradition, the FPMT.
Correct.
That's our kind of umbrella organization. So my vision for this place is to continue to push forward in holding the tradition and the lineage, but also to bring in Lama Yeshe's vision for establishing a place for secular ethics and universal education.
Oh, that is beautiful. Because you're right. Both Lama's vision are beautiful in and of themselves, but combined.
But combining
that's like the power of the yin and yang wheel.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah,
right?
Amazing.
Yeah, and trying to establish that synergy is that I think it's a very worthwhile endeavor.
Wow, amazing. I love that. I want you to succeed.
Thank you.
Okay. Speaking of that, what can we, the audience, and actually myself, what can we do for you?
I think continue to, thank you for asking. I think continue to live the Dharma and to expand the message of the Dharma and to get more people involved in Dharma. I think that we're all in this together. So the more people that you can bring to Dharma, and the more people that I can, and the more that we can cross-pollinate and introduce one another to, we all have our Dharma friends, right? But maybe some of my Dharma friends don't know your Dharma friends. So introducing, right? And starting to combine. Because I think that into the future, if the Dharma is going to continue to make an impact in, trying to create a more harmonious world and planet, we need to start to have our cultures and our traditions in Dharma overlap, where Zen practitioners are communing with Tibetan practitioners and all the practitioners in between. So
Right, awesome. So come in the Dharma and come together. That's what he says.
Come together and come to LMB. Do a retreat.
Yes, come to LMB.
Join us.
Join us. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Meng.